Everybody, happy Earth Day. Welcome and great to see you all. Thank you for joining today's webinar looking at why organic certification matters for beauty and well-being. It matters to consumers, which all of us are, brands, and ultimately, planet Earth, which is our home. So quickly before I kick off, can I just go a little bit of housekeeping? This session will be recorded and a link will be sent to you all afterwards. So no need to worry about screenshotting or taking notes. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Linda, and I've been writing about content creating, cheerleading for green and earth-friendly beauty and well-being for, basically forever. But over on my blog, Wanderlusting, for a decade. So it's been really exciting for me to watch how the market has developed and really think it's brilliant that you're all here today to learn more about how you can be part of the solution. We know that consumers are demanding products that are less harmful to the environment. And during the past year with, the P word, that's only increased. People really appreciate nature. They're thinking more about their choices and they're voting with their wallets for what they want the world to be like. And that is earth-friendly, environmentally friendly. So just a few stats I'm going to throw at you from the latest Organic Beauty and Wellbeing Market Report that the Soil Association produced earlier in the year, which I'm sure Fiona will talk you through later. 45% of consumers say that organic is better for the environment. 56% of consumers think that brands should be doing more to reduce the environmental impact. And there's a lot of confusion around the word organic. With beauty and well-being, as I'm sure many of you know, there is no legal definition, unlike with food. So consumers need a lot of help to understand what is truly organic and what's just greenwashing, which unfortunately, there's still a lot of that going on. And I often get questions from readers wanting to know what labels actually mean. And that's where certification comes in the Soil Association. It's a massive way that brands can help consumers and build trust. If they see that logo, that tells them that a third party has kind of checked everything out that a brand is doing and what they say they're doing for the earth, for people, their practices, their packaging is all authentic, it's real, and they are being truly environmentally friendly. And consumers want to do the right thing, and they're looking at brands to help them. So today we've got a brilliant panel of certified organic brands who are at different stages of their life, from a brand that's been going for decades to a startup that's just over a year old, who are going to be sharing their insights into why being certified matters to them, why it matters to the consumers and their customers. And at the end of the session, there's going to be plenty of time for Q&A. So if you've got any questions, just look, bottom of your screen, you should see ask a question, and basically Silent Bank style, ask a question, put what your question is in there, and we'll all answer it at the end. So thank you again for joining us. Enjoy, and I'm now going to hand over to Fiona from the Soil Association.
Hi, Linda. Thanks for the intro. So my name's Fiona Campbell. I'm the Senior Business Development Manager at the Soil Association, and thanks for everyone for attending today, and happy World Earth Day. So it's really exciting to be here on World Earth Day, and it's a really exciting time for organic beauty and wellbeing products. So the market is growing, so the sales of certified organic and natural beauty and wellbeing products grew an amazing 13% last year. It's our 10th year of consecutive growth. And the Soil Association is a founding partner of Cosmos, and the Cosmos standard also grew massively last year, increasing by 40%. And I guess why that's so exciting for me, and hopefully for everyone attending today, is that it means that these products are more accessible for consumers to purchase, and more accessible as well for businesses and brands to develop new products and bring those new products into the market. And the consumer research that we've taken place and carried out in December last year showed that 1 in 6 people buy organic beauty and wellbeing products, which is amazing. This is it's a mainstream it's moved into the mainstream. It's not just a trend, it's not niche, it's part of people's everyday purchasing behaviours. And as Linda said, you know, we know that purchasers of beauty and wellbeing products just want to do the right thing, but actually it's quite difficult to understand what doing the right thing is, and it's difficult to understand really what are the benefits of purchasing organic beauty and wellbeing products. And the aim of today's session is to help explain more detail behind that. And thanks for the speakers today for collaborating with the Soil Association, for helping us spread that message that we feel so passionately about. So how can certified organic beauty and wellbeing products help restore the earth? So organic is a full system approach built on the principles of health, ecology, fairness and care. And we're going to talk today about the 3 key benefits and ways that organic beauty and wellbeing products help restore the earth. So these 3 key ways, the first area is really caring for the soils. So organic farms help to care for the soil, and organically grown ingredients help to care for the soil. And the soil is so important. So I saw a study that said 1/4 of the world's species are actually like living soil species. So we know that how important it is to care for the soil. And specifically, organic soils are 25% more effective at storing carbon. So the second key area is how organic beauty and wellbeing products help support wildlife. And one of my favourite stats is that organic farms are home to 75% more wild bees. And we all know how important bees are in helping biodiversity. And the third key area that we're going to explore today in more detail is how organic helps to close the loop. So we're looking at that from organic farms using less artificial fertilisers, and that's better for the environment in terms of not importing artificial fertilizers, and how that's better for overall for our reduction in emissions. But also how when you see organic beauty and wellbeing products, yes, we do look at the ingredients. There's lots of the standard is focused on the ingredients, but it's not just limited to the ingredients. It's a real farm to face standard that looks at the ingredients, the manufacturing processes, and also the packaging. So within the Cosmos standard, there's regulations to ensure that the maximum recycled packaging content's used. And we all know how significant that is for beauty and wellbeing products, and for reducing our impact on the climate and helping to restore the earth. So today, as Linda greatly said, this is an interactive session. So we're actually going to post a poll. So it'd be great to have feedback from you guys about which of the 3 key areas you think are helping restore the planet the most. So the poll will, it's popped up. So feel free to post your feedback on the poll, and we can discuss in the Q&A session at the end. The brands that we're also collaborating with on today's session, so thanks Susan from Neil's Yard and Ennis from Homer, are also going to look at these 3 key areas in more detail and how their brands specifically address them, and how organic beauty and wellbeing products in their ranges really help restore the planet. So thanks Susan for joining us from Neil's Yard Remedies. It's really a privilege to be joined by you guys today as such pioneers within the organic movement. So I'll hand over to you to take you through Neil's Yard.
Thank you, Fiona, and happy Earth Day, everybody. We've been absolutely passionate about organic farming for the past 40 years at Neil's Yard Remedies. So it's a real privilege to be able to be here and share this with you. And of course, supporters of the Soil Association for 40 years as well. And that's because we absolutely support organic agriculture as a form of regenerative agriculture. And that's what we really need now, isn't it? What we need is something that's going to help to provide solutions to all of the many problems that we're experiencing in the many world, and actually improve things as we go along, which is how organic can help. We're understanding more and more, aren't we, how important biodiversity is to sustain all life on our planet, whether that's from the microorganisms in the soil to the microorganisms in our gut. We understand now that they're the actual building blocks of life on Earth, on our wonderful planet. And organic agriculture is absolutely the most practical and positive, proven form of agriculture that we have that helps to maintain the soil and encourage biodiversity, as Fiona's mentioned, whether that's natural crop predators such as ladybirds that eat the green fly and the black fly on our crops, or natural pollinators such as honeybees and bumblebees that do such great, amazing work, as well as just being marvelous creatures. We need that incredible diversity of crop and wildlife, whether that's insects or the beautiful larger wildlife that we absolutely love and are losing at such a devastating rate. And we just know that organic agriculture is the best way, so well proven now that there is more biodiversity and more wildlife on organic farms than on conventional farms. And of course, it's healthier crops because there isn't the transfer of pesticides into the food or the drift of pesticides into other areas. So we really get a better maintenance in the balance of the food chain for all of us to share and all of the creatures to share. And I had a really good example of that when I was in Madagascar a couple of years back. We get a lot of our essential oils from Madagascar, including ylang ylang and vetiver, and it's a beautiful country which has an amazing climate for growing these exotic essential oils. And I visited a really big plantation, which the whole plantation, which is many thousands of acres, is all certified organic. And a lot of the people actually live on the plantation. They have a school on the plantation. So they're really delighted to be living there and not being exposed to any of the conventional chemicals that other farms and plantations might be exposed to. So they feel it's a really healthy environment. And the wildlife on the plantation is also amazing, including this beautiful chameleon that was living very happily in a Ravensara tree and eating only organic insects, of course. So if I can have the next slide, please, because I also want to look at how certified organic is also an incredibly climate friendly form of farming. And with all the extremes in climate and the global warming and crisis that we're really experiencing, how important is that? Well, again, we know that organic farming offers the best available system because it's practical and it's well proven as a system of agriculture that is actually climate friendly. And when you think that agriculture is responsible for about 1/3 of total greenhouse gas emissions worldwide, we can see what an important contribution, if we all switch to organic farming and purchasing organic products, that would actually make a direct impact into greenhouse gas emissions by up to 1/3, which is incredible, isn't it? It also helps to maintain a healthy living soil because there are fewer inputs into the soil, such as greenhouse gas emission heavy nitrogen-based fertilizers. That's one of those big contributors to that 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions is nitrogen fertilizers, which are not used as synthetic form in organic farming methods. It locks CO2 into the soil, so it's actually storing carbon, so it's also helping in that way. The soil is also more nutritious, so the crops don't need those extra additives, and it means for us that we're actually getting more nutrition from eating an organic diet and using organic essential oils and beauty products. We're getting more benefit, more essential fatty acids, more phytonutrients, so we can actually use less to get a bigger impact. So that in itself is more sustainable, isn't it? And incredibly important, organically farmed crops are more resilient to drought, to flood and to erosion. So all those problems that we are experiencing around the world these days in agriculture can all be really helped and mitigated by more organic farming. And really, I would say that organic farming is an absolutely integral part of our business, and I'm sure all these health and well-being businesses that are committed to organic these days. We've been committed for 40 years to this more sustainable lifestyle. We've been carbon neutral at Neal's Yard Remedies since 2008. And being certified organic is absolutely part of that commitment to being a more sustainable and regenerative business. So thanks, everybody. Happy World Earth Day again. And I'd like to pass over to Ennis at Halma now. Thank you, Ennis.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Susan. Thank you so much. So my name is Ennis, but I won't dare you to pronounce my last name, obviously. I just started Halma over a year ago. And when I set out on this journey, organic was my biggest passion. Because there are so many different standards that we can abide by, but getting organic certification actually enables so many things for your business. And I also strongly believe that it is each and every one of us, it's our responsibility, fundamental responsibility to look after the planet we live in. But when I started Halma, I just wanted to create something more than just organic, go above and beyond that. So there are a few extra principles I wanted to implement. Well, in the honor of the Earth Day, I suppose they're worth mentioning in terms of plastics, all types of plastics, recycled or bio, which I'll be talking about in a moment. Also, really heavy processing to get certain ingredients in our skincare products, the so-called plant-derived ingredients, the issue of preservatives and emulsifiers. But as I said, it is our fundamental responsibility to look after our planet. And one of the key things to think about is, I suppose, the soil. Today, everyone is talking about climate change and how important it is and how much effort we need to put into this cause. But soil is probably something that's overlooked and needs to be brought into this conversation. And we need to understand that all of our actions have an impact both on our soils, on skin, and on our environment. So I'd like to cover all of these. But to put things into perspective, I suppose what we need to think about is when we buy natural skincare products, essentially all of the ingredients in natural skincare are going to come from agriculture, from farming. And if we look at the nature of these ingredients, for instance, there are essential oils that I use. There are floral waters, plant oils, and butters. All of these have the nature of having to be farmed in quite large quantities, and then they yield much smaller quantities. As an example, 3,000 lemons are needed to produce just 2 pounds of lemon essential oil. So imagine all the vast farmland that is dedicated to the production of these, and then you get such a small quantity. So to put it in more perspective, I suppose, that would translate into 600 lemons in a batch of our soaps where we use oranges, but it's a similar concept. And then one batch roughly produces 60 soaps. So it just gives an idea how much farming you need to do. And if you don't use organic farming methods, then the consequences of that I'm just going to be talking about. But let's just give another example. 5,000 kilograms of roses only yield 1 kilogram of rose essential oil. So what happens is there are a few different effects of these, obviously, both in the environment, the soil, and on our skin. So it just means that you get a really concentrated dose of toxic material, and the vast farmland is treated with fertilizers, genetically modified organisms, pesticides, herbicides, and in the case of citrus fruits, for instance, petroleum waxes. So, of course, all of these artificial materials that I use or chemicals that I use are going to have an effect on our environment. In 2017, 40% of fruit and vegetables contained residues of more than one pesticide. And in the past 26 years, UK land treated with pesticides sadly increased by 63%. Okay, so what does this do to our soils? As Susan and Fiona mentioned, organic soils are around 25% more effective at storing carbon in the long term. And they also store twice as much water. And another fact I'd like to mention, which is really quite saddening, is that the issue of soil degradation. I mean, soil is not produced in a factory. It's a natural process that takes hundreds and thousands of years, and half of the topsoil on the planet Earth has been lost in the last 150 years. So these are really scary figures, of course, and we need to take action. Soil Association, through all their work over the past decades, with their certification, with all their regulation, they are enabling positive change in this arena. So what happens? So we talked about our skins, we talked about our farmland, agriculture, our soil. What happens on wildlife? So we know now that organic farms are home to 30% more species of wildlife on average, and they have 50% more butterflies, pollinators, and bees. Another really scary thing, I suppose, is we all now know how important bees and butterflies and pollinators are, and natural pollination. So over the last 100 years, I know I keep throwing all these numbers, but they're just quite scary. You know, with genetically modified organisms, they are more dominant, and they can crossbreed with the natural seeds that we've got, and then we lose them. So the effects on the farmers, they have to keep going to the big companies to buy and purchase their seeds every single year, rather than the natural route of reusing their seeds. And because of this, in the last 100 years, 80% of plant biodiversity has been lost in Europe, and the worldwide loss has been 75%. So it is really important to support the communities around agriculture and creating a sustainable future. So, so these are all the effects of organic farming and what we get out of that. But if we move on to the next slide, I suppose it's really important that in the spirit of the World Earth Day, we need to reconsider our habits and buying choices, and really understand, do we really need to use that many products? Do we need to just get rid of everything once we just feel like they're not useful to us? So it is just really important to look at our habits and understand that we live in harmony with nature, and we need to adapt a more holistic lifestyle. So one of the key things that we can do is, of course, always look at the label, understand, read the ingredients. It's one of them. It's the single most important thing I would recommend to everyone. But also there is an issue of plastic that's all around the world now, and then all the plastic that we think is going to be recycled are sent to developing countries. They don't know what to do with them. And also when we use recycled plastic in our packaging, sometimes because plastic doesn't disappear, from the 50 years ago, the plastic that was banned can get into the stream of recycling. And bioplastics, we know there are now research coming up that they don't biodegrade the way they are meant to be. So we really need to look at all these and make really conscious choices. So that's why at Halma we believe that glass is our ancient heritage, and we really need to be using that. And the glass we use is a biophotonics glass that utilizes that science, and then it means we can use less preservatives and emulsifiers. So we always have to look at the value in everything. Okay, do I really need this in my life or in this product? And be in a manner of reduction, because that's the only sustainable way for our planet. Apart from that, of course, when I first wanted to launch Hauma, I wanted to use a particular glass jar. And when I was in talks with Solar Association, they said, well, no, you can't use this jar because in the production process, there is these chemicals were involved and in the final product as well. And it's not recyclable in the way that we want it to be. So Solar Association is really good at identifying all these different aspects of your product in all of its life cycle. And then I had to change the packaging, of course. And there is the issue of, again, going back to reduction. So when we buy a product, the bottle is put in a carton and then on a plastic wrap, and then it goes into your parcels, and then there is filling material in the parcels, and that parcel usually goes into another envelope. It's just so much that you're not going to be using. So the whole idea is we partnered with a organic farm. They send us their dried flowers, their hay, and then we package everything with that in just a single carton and then send it to our customers. So it's important to look at everything holistically and be in an attitude of reduction, reutilization, and respect for our planet. But that's it from me now. I'll hand it over back to Fiona for questions and answers, and happy Earth Day, everyone.
Thanks, Dennis, and thanks, Susan. So we're going to move to the Q&A section. So please feel free to put them on the chat. I see that we've got some already, which is really exciting. And thanks everyone for participating on the chat as well. It's great to know who you are, and thanks for the feedback to Susan and Ennis as well. So in terms of the questions that have come through, so the first question in terms of, we will be sharing the recording of this webinar post the session. So yeah, we'll be sending over the video. Gardening questions come through on the chat, guys. I don't know if anybody wants to man that one. I mean, I geekily have some gardening knowledge. So someone's asked, they want to use natural pesticides and fertilizers on their garden. Does anyone have any tips, please, for a very novice gardener? Ennis, I know that you were pruning a rose last week.
Yes, I was. So what I do normally is, this is such a hot topic, I suppose, and I was really looking into it. Well, first of all, I always buy organic seeds from a really lovely seed cooperative. And we know that they are more resilient. The more organic farming methods we use, they're going to be healthier. But if you have really major problems, what I do is I always use, I've got neem oil in my house, and then you mix that neem oil with a little bit of water and a soap that you've got so that it mixes, natural soap, of course, ideally, and then spray it gently on your leaves and on your stems and even in the soil. And it's completely friendly to all of the wild animals, insects, and then it gets rid of everything, basically. Oh. But I'm sure Susan might have something to add. I saw her raising her hand.
Thanks, Ennis. No, that's great. Neem oil is just brilliant, isn't it? I'd also recommend the organisation Garden Organic, because they have a catalogue and they have lots of information on their website. So, you know, you can have a kind of look through and learn a lot. So it's worth checking them out.
I saw someone on Instagram as well, and IG stories, making their own fertilizer from nettles they collected. And I've got to those realms of gardening where I'm so sad I don't have any nettles in my garden, and I was looking at like foraging some to make some fertilizer. Thanks for that question. So thanks, Linda, for asking the question on what's the process for a small brand to get certified? How long? Ennis, I don't know, do you want to help cover that one?
I could do. I mean, it was quite a recent process for me, just 2 years ago, I suppose. It is honestly really, really easy and straightforward, as long as you are really dedicated to this cause. I mean, because I was doing all the products for myself, and I had always purchased organic raw materials to make the products anyway. And once you know what you want to do, and once you're really strict about what you can put in your products, what packaging do you want to put, and what processes you go through, you just get in touch with the friendly team, as you can see at the Soil Association, and they help you through every step. I think it was really short as well. I mean, it might have changed now with COVID, but I think it only took a couple of months for us to get to somewhere. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. And then, Susan, a question's come up. What's the impact of pesticides getting into the bloodstream and affecting health? I don't know if you have a view on that one.
Well, yeah, I'm a naturopath and homeopathic practitioner as well as working at Neal's Yard Remedies, and it is a significant problem. It's really tragic. It's, you know, there is now a measurable amount of pesticides in the umbilical cord of newborn babies, so it's even being transmitted, you know, during pregnancy. So we're into sort of second generation at least of that. You know, it is a worry, and that is another reason why it's so important, isn't it, to use and buy, or, you know, as a consumer, we have that power, don't we, of choosing organic, you know, filter the water, but also, you know, buy organic food, use organic, you know, beauty and well-being products, and that's absolutely the best thing that we can do. Another thing is, like many people, I got a puppy recently, and I was pretty horrified by the amount of tick and flea treatments, and they come with a warning on them for you know, we keep bees in our garden, they come for a warning that it will damage wildlife. So again, we have to find solutions for all these things that are avoiding these really awful pesticides. And there are solutions, there are always solutions. So we have to work that bit harder the whole time, don't we? But being organic is absolutely a part of that.
Yeah, and I guess it's great having these sessions like today where we can share our learnings. And it's great that we've had such a high attendance, like almost 100 people celebrating World Earth Day all together. And I didn't know that about puppy, Susan. I got a puppy too, so I'm going to check that out.
I'm going to add a quick thing as well. I've been obsessed with little Italian greyhounds. I don't know if anyone heard, but they have really, really sensitive bodies. And I was looking at information, researching. I've been dying to get one. Anyway, they've been saying, please don't ever get flea treatment for your Italian greyhound, because they are so sensitive with all the ingredients in there. And I think that is a testimony to how important it is to look at everything in a holistic manner. I mean, pesticides, yes, they go into our animals, our pets, they go to our own products, they go to all the farm. It's just, you can't disconnect all these from each other, and that small puppy will get affected from it. It's just because they have more sensitive bodies than us. But as Susan said, we're the second generation now. We don't know what is going to happen within the next 50 years. It's just really scary. We really need to be serious about all these, I think.
Yeah, and thanks, Amrinta, for the question. So are there any studies or research that you can recommend that supports the pesticides and bloodstream questions? So we actually have quite a lot of studies and research that from the Soil Association charity side. So we can put some links to those on the email with the video from this webinar. And if Susan, if you have any recommendations for studies as well, we can add those to links as well as a follow-up. So thanks, that's a great question as well. Let me check I haven't missed any.
Yeah, I think the Soil Association, you know, become a member of the Soil Association, check out the website. There's a lot of information and a research area. So, you know, and that'll lead you to other, you know, there is a lot of evidence out there now. But yeah, I'd start with the Soil Association website, and then that link will take you into other areas as well.
Yeah. Thanks. And sorry, Linda, I feel like we've left you out of any puppies or gardening conversations here.
I know nothing about puppies or gardening, so I've learned though, which is good.
Yeah. And as we said, and actually as the poll reveals, so I will announce the results from the poll. So it's really interesting to see that actually everyone overwhelmingly, so like 90% of the votes were voted that all three, so caring for soils, supporting wildlife and closing the loop, were kind of equally important, which I think is so amazing because it links into all the conversations we've had today, that everything's interlinked, and then even the conversations from the Q&A. So we're not just talking about beauty and wellbeing products, we're talking about gardening, we're talking about what's the best kind of products for our pets. Soil Association actually does certify products for your pets. So yeah, it's really great that we're all in agreement that all of these things are all interlinked. And yeah, so thanks.
There's a good question there for Linda now, just come in.
Oh, okay.
Fiona.
Thanks, Susan.
Can't see.
So Linda, so
In the
can you
chat.
notice a difference in your personal usage of organic beauty?
Well, you know, I've always kind of had a preference for natural and organic beauty because I've got very sensitive skin that reacts to everything. So I notice the difference because when I switch off and I use other products, my skin definitely doesn't like it. So that's the simplest way that I see the difference. My skin doesn't react generally as much when I use organic products. But I also I'm a label geek, so I kind of turn things around and I read what's in my product. So that kind of narrows down the chance of me using something that's going to irritate my skin in some way. And because I know how much extra organic brings to the table, it's something I look for anyway, naturally, because I know that it's more than just about the ingredients. It's about all the other things. So I'm always, looking for that logo because it stops me from having to, have the whole world in my head. Because, trying to research ingredients, if I've got to look at that logo, then I know you guys have kind of already done it for me. So it kind of helps me on that level.
Great. Okay, great. Well, thanks, Ennis. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Ennis, for joining us today, and thanks, Susan, as well. So, and thanks everyone for attending. And happy Earth Day, and and hope to see you again on some events that we've got coming up soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.